Question for you. Have you ever watched a political interview and get the feeling you're watching a performance happen right before your eyes, but you can't quite name the tricks being used? Well, today we're pulling back the curtain, so to speak. We're going to basically deconstruct House Speaker Mike Johnson's recent interview on the government shutdown, not for the politics, but for the persuasion tactics. Hi, I'm Alan Stafford. As a certified neuroscience coach with a background in marketing and business analytics, I'm fascinated by how our brains process information and basically how language is used to frame our reality. And it's time to expose those techniques. This is the Pundit Playbook. So you see, we're all constantly exposed to these high-stakes interviews. The goal for us is to find clarity in the chaos, so to speak, to see through the spin, if you will. But the main obstacle is that these persuasive techniques are designed to be invisible. They're crafted to bypass your critical thinking and to go straight for your emotional brain. And today, we give you the tools to spot them. We're going to break down 3 specific tactics Speaker Johnson used in his recent interview. All right, so the first and most common tactic in any political playbook is to frame the opponent as the sole reason for the problem. But watch closely. It often slides from blaming their action to attacking their character or motivations. This is a classic logical fallacy called an ad hominem. I've talked about this in other videos as well. See, instead of just disagreeing on policy, Speaker Johnson paints a picture of Chuck Schumer's personal motivations. Let's watch.
He's afraid, Chuck Schumer individually asked him about it, he's afraid he's going to get a challenge from the Marxist left in his party because that's the new wave in New York. He is now the captain of it, and it's on him.
All right, see what happened there? The debate is no longer about government funding. It's now about Schumer being supposedly afraid of the Marxist left. See, this tactic is incredibly effective because it reframes the opponent as unreasonable or acting in bad faith. So you don't have to seriously engage with their arguments. See, the shutdown, he says, is squarely on him, meaning Schumer. All right, next up is a more subtle neurological trick, strategic framing. See, our brains are wired for efficiency. We prefer simple solutions over complex problems. Pundits exploit this by framing their own position as incredibly simple and their opponents as, well, messy and complicated. Listen to how Johnson describes his temporary funding bill.
This is a funding bootstrap measure, a very simple, very conventional thing that's been done here all the time. This is the way it works now.
Simple. Conventional. You see, he uses these words to make his solution seem like the obvious, easy choice. Now listen to how he describes the healthcare subsidies the Democrats want to discuss.
We have plenty of time to debate that very complicated issue. It's not a simple one.
It's brilliant, in a way. See, by framing his side as simple and the other as complicated, he creates the impression that he's the reasonable one, while the opponent is deliberately creating unnecessary problems. See, it guides your brain to prefer his path before you've even analyzed the details. And this last one is a classic misdirection, and I've discussed this in other videos countless of times. It's called the red herring. This is when a speaker introduces a completely irrelevant but highly emotional topic to distract from the original question. You see, when the interviewer presses him on the details of the bill, Johnson pivots hard.
Do you know what they counter-propose? They want to spend $1.5 trillion, and they want to return hard-working taxpayer dollars to fund health care for illegal aliens. Yeah. It is in their bill. Go to speaker.gov and see it for yourself.
And there it is, folks. We were talking about a government shutdown, and suddenly we're in a heated debate about illegal aliens. See, this is a masterstroke of distraction. It's designed to trigger a strong emotional response in his base and completely derail the interviewer's line of questioning. Notice how he even gives a source, speaker.gov, to add a layer of authority and credibility to his diversion. So, how do we defend against this? How do we watch these interviews and not get manipulated? So you move from being a passive consumer to an active analyst. You equip yourself with a mental checklist, so to speak. So next time you're watching a pundit, a politician, anyone trying to persuade you, ask yourself these 3 simple questions. First, are they attacking the person or the argument? If they're focused on their opponent's character, a red flag should go up. Second, how are they framing the issue? Are they making their side seem overly simple and the other side seem impossibly complicated? And third, are they trying to distract me or you? did the topic suddenly change to something more emotional and inflammatory? You see, learning to spot these patterns is the core of what we do here on this channel. It's how we build a more resilient reality, one basically thought at a time. So what's the most common rhetorical tactic you've noticed in the news lately? I'm sure there's lots of them. Drop it in the comments below. I'd love to see what you're noticing. And I want to thank you for watching. Now, go out there and keep learning how to think sharper. We'll see you next time.